Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Your Little Castle Show. Wolf Painting, our pack has got your back. I like guys who are creative and are like on the ball. Welcome to the Your Little Castle Show, everybody. My new friend Tyler, Wolf. Makes sense. Wolf pack. Your pack of people, guys, workers, expert painters, journeymen, right?
Yes, sir.
What's it like, man? How'd you get started on all this?
We got started about 4 years ago now. We're going into our fourth year. And I started out by being a third generation painter. My father told me one day, hey man, cutting grass just ain't gonna do it for you whenever it's a wet summer. So you need to step it up and do something different and, make yourself get a job that's a career, not just a job they work 2 or 3 days a week, And so started out working somewhere and ended up one day starting my own business.
And well, that's how a lot of us decide to do that, right? We're like, I don't know if I want to work for somebody else my entire life. Many of us do not want to work for somebody else. I mean, I don't think there's anybody that says, I can't wait to wake up today to go work for somebody else. I guess there's a lot of people that are in that boat. But it also then ends up being an issue of, are you happy? And it's a great position to be in, to be working for somebody else.
Indeed.
We need people to do that, obviously.
Indeed.
But some of us are just, man, I got to do my thing. And,
Yeah.
you figured this out relatively. I can't tell you how old he is unless he wants to say that on camera. But he's very young, not as young as you may think. Actually, he looks younger than he is. So that's good. Because if you were like 18, I'd be like, come on. But he's not. He's lots more experience than that. What's it like though? I mean, here you are. You're already experiencing some crazy success. Why do you think that's happening?
I've built a lot of connections just face to face, a little bit over social media, a little bit, of, hey, my mom needs their house painted, my sister needs their house painted, stuff like that. That's led to, hey, my brother builds houses or, hey, my brother works for this general contractor, blah, 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 stuff like that, And we have made several connections and just grown from there.
Okay, and that's kind of the organic route, right?
Exactly.
They call that organic.
Yeah.
When you're kind of doing your own thing, but you just kind of work through the network of people that you have in the community, right?
Exactly.
And we all want to work that route because it can be more stable. Is it fair to say?
Yeah, I would agree. Definitely don't have to rely on the internet that way. No, I'm just...
Tyler, talking about the internet. What do you mean everything's on the internet?
No,
it must be true.
Yeah,
it's got to be
everything
true.
must be true. Exactly. No, yeah. I mean, I see people all the time saying, "Hey, I can paint. I watched a YouTube video once." Trust me, I get that all the time.
We talk about that here because I've experienced that. I'm a do-it-yourselfer, right? I do a lot of things myself, but there's some things it's like I'm not gonna. Electrical work I don't do. Painting I do, but you can always tell when I did it.
Yeah.
But if you want your house to look, if you're gonna, what's the best reason for somebody to have a professional do this?
We recommend here. We can take a note on this.
Take note. All right, I told them use that pencil. Take note.
I've always been taught to recommend to repaint your home every 10 years. So if you haven't painted your home in 10 years, just to freshen up the color, freshen up the paint and from any dandruff, dust, dirt from animals and people from over the years. Anything.
Right.
Scuff marks, whatever.
I'm with you. Shout out while we're here. Let's do this because I was putting that up while we started the show. I always said put Your Little Castle sponsored by Carroll House Furniture because you need a nicely painted house that you can put beautiful furniture in, right? That would make sense.
That's right.
And because you like nice things in your little castle. So there they are up on the TV wall, if you will, and you can see that. We want to shout out to our sponsors, Carroll House Furniture, Brooke and Amy. They are amazing. We love working with them. Now, let's get into, literally, I'm going to put up on the wall here. We've got tons of great work you put up. I'm going to share that for everybody so you can see the wall.
Thank you, Carter. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I built the wall. Not that kind of wall, but it's a wall. It's different. Oh, boy. So, look at what we got here. I'm going to put this up for people to take a look at if it's okay. I'm going to jump into this a little bit. But there is your Facebook page. Mm-hmm. Your website's in development. You do have a URL. We got that. I saw that on the let's put that up here.
Yeah, we're working on the website. Should be launching anytime soon. So
okay.
We've just had very good luck with Facebook. So it's kind of something we're dabbling into now is getting a URL.
Getting that URL, right? Yeah. www, they call that, right? 3 guys in a tub. I don't know what's going on. But
I hope not.
When we were kids, we used to do the 3 dub. I don't know.
No, maybe not when I was a kid.
We were little kids. Anyway, so lots of fun stuff you get to do, and great looking work. So I'm going to put that up here on.
No, yeah, man,
on
we
the
appreciate that. That's a project we just started working on recently. That's a 6-bedroom home out in Warren County. The people are moving in right now before Christmas, so they're super happy about it. Yeah.
Gotcha. And literally, I mean, look at how great looking that is. I'm going to put that up and put the title up there. But Wolf Painting, our pack has got your back. I'm going to take that back off so you can see. That's a beautiful looking room. Tell me everything you did there, because there's some flooring going on there.
We didn't do the floor. We obviously come in after the drywallers, spray the houses out, go back in a couple more times. We come in 3 stages typically on a new construction home like this. We come in the second time, do all the trim work, caulk putty, prep it all, and then spray it, and then come back a third and final time. Once it looks kind of like this, almost done, but not all the way. We like it all the way done, but it never ends up that way. We like to be the last person in there, but we come in and cut and roll everything back in, make sure everything looks nice and straight, and sharpen everything up.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Ultimately, when you're going to get a house, if you're going to sell a house, I mean, that would be the biggest thing. A lot of people are like, "We got to sell my house."
Yeah.
I went through this recently with my girlfriend, and we talked a little bit pregame prep, but inherited 2 houses, half of one and full other one, and the full other one, literally like it should have been painted, and we just ate the cost. And I'm negotiating, man, and I think I had some people that were professionals. I love the guy who bought the house from you. I won't say his name on camera, but he paid us more than anybody else by like 20 grand.
Oh, that's awesome. You can't beat that.
And so then I'm like, that might have saved it, but that's rare, and you're just lucky if you have that happen.
You never know. If you would have painted it, might have got $30,000.
Yeah, well, these guys came in and asked, but I had professionals that that's what they do for a living. They're friends of mine. They flip houses, and they're like, that guy's crazy for buying it for that price. I'm like, hey, he did his numbers.
He's seen something nobody else did.
Yeah, and so we did. But yeah, they talked about the value. You increase the value of your house dramatically because you do those kinds of things, right?
No,
what does the average house gain by getting the whole house painted, or rooms, and what do you do? I mean,
I would say not only does it gain, better features, not in look or brightness or coolness or warmthness, but you also just get a cleaner smelling, feeling home when you go to sell it at that point. And I mean, I guess your value, I guess what you'd gain is probably 40% more than what we would charge, I would imagine. So I mean, your average house painting job could be anywhere from $5,000 to anywhere to $10,000, depending on the size of your home, obviously. But yeah, I would say, I mean, besides the cleanliness of a freshly painted home, I'd say you probably gain a 30% increase over what you paid, maybe 40.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
excuse me, I'm choking over here. Can you imagine how many people would like to get and that's not in a year. How many people can get I've done some stock market stuff. I'm not going to make it. I'm not licensed. It doesn't matter what I say. When you're licensed, you can't make any guarantees, blah, blah. But 10% is what the stock market is average.
Right,
people are like, oh, I got 5%. I'm like, you're getting ripped off. But we're talking 30% gain in 6 weeks here for your property.
Yeah, I wouldn't
right?
say 30% gain on the whole.
No, but on
home,
that
on that investment, yes, I would say
you spent $5,000.
Yeah.
You'll make another $1,500 over what you spent.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I think so. I would say that you get that back absolutely by repainting your home.
Not something you will guarantee, but you can
say
pretty good chance that is the case.
Yes.
All right, we're off of our. I got to go down my list here. My mom will be mad. Mom, sorry, I jumped off the schedule here, but I'm gonna get back on here. She's a drama teacher. Everybody knows I talk about my mom a lot on the show because she's such a. Hey, learn from what Judy Rethwich taught her son. She's taught thousands of kids at Afton High School. Talked about my mom's friend, John Goodman. I got to know him a little bit. I've met him a few times.
I thought that was him up there.
Yeah,
I just didn't want to ask any questions. I was like, am I seeing something, or is that who I think it is?
He came in. They named the theater after my mom's. The Judy Rethwich Auditorium. He came in for that.
That's great.
But she's been inspirational, so I've learned a lot from her. And that is be in order, be on time, do what you say, and stick to the program.
100%.
She's a drama teacher. Stick to the program. The show must go on, all that stuff. But I do want to get off on tangents from the perspective that if we're digging in on something important, that's where you nail something really important. I'm going to hold up the pencil again myself right here. Take note. There's a ballpark number for you. If you paint, a 20 to 30% increase, maybe more.
Yeah, of the cost of what you put into it. I think your return on the investment will give you 20 to 30% all day long.
Talk a little bit, and tell me if we covered this too much, because you and I were talking before the show, but did we already talk about it? It's okay to reiterate periodically. You give me a little more about how you got to where you're at. Your dad was like, hey, man, you got to get a job. You got to do something.
Pretty much so.
You decided not to go to college, which I think these days, some people, that's a better way for a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't say it's better for everybody, but it worked out for me. I went and painted for a union shop for I want to say from 2014 to 2020 into 20, beginning of 2021, as we officially launched in March of 2021, our business here. And yeah, I mean, I went through the whole union apprenticeship. We learned the do's and don'ts about painting, the do's and don'ts for all the safety precautions it takes to get the job done. So yeah, I'd like to say I try to pass that on to all my employees as we grow.
Okay. Yeah. Again, with the background, you want to know where people come from and how they got there, because they didn't just fall off the turnip truck.
Right.
Like they say, I'm a painter today, by the
Yeah.
way.
No.
You should hire me and give me $20,000.
No, absolutely. And I kind of got off track there on your question, but no, I got into it mainly, like I said, my dad kind of pushed me into it. He's a second generation painter. I'm a third generation painter. My grandfather painted. He retired as a painter. My father's on his way out now. So yeah, I seen they both make good livings at it, and so I went and did it my own.
That's the do-it-yourselfer that we like to talk about, because, I mean, that's what I've done. A lot of people do that. You start your own business. You're in charge. You got one person to blame.
Yeah.
Yourself, right? And so that's how it works. But at the same time, the reward can be great. And I got so many business owners that have been on our show here, and I'm like, man, I should have started so much longer ago. And I don't think, do you claim to be a genius, an incredibly super talented person, or are you just somebody who works really hard and pretty insightful?
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a genius by any means, but you definitely have to have some street smart,
Sure.
or some common sense. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't call myself a genius.
Yeah, well, that's why I say all these people that started a business. No, I got to know all these people. They're pretty average Joes, most of them, but they're ambitious.
Absolutely.
And they want to do something. They want to change the world. The really smart guys, my dad used to make the joke, the really smart guys work for the guys who weren't as smart, because the guys say, I don't have to work that hard to be that smart, but I'll start a company and I'll hire them to work for me, right?
But
you went for it, and you're having that success already.
Yeah, we're getting there. Every year we're learning, every year we're growing, and that's kind of the goal until we, get to a point where all right, we're good. Let's just kind of focus on making sure we take care of our customers and take care of our team.
So many years. Give me the overall amount of years of experience that you would say you have doing this. If you said, here's the day I started when I was 17, or whatever it is. I mean.
Yeah, so I'm in almost 11 years. I'd say in July of 25 would be 11 years for me. So I'm 10 years deep already. So
10 years of experience, and he's only 21. No, he's older than that. But
I'm 29 now.
29. Okay.
I wish I still was 21. If I would have started when I was 21, we would definitely be in good shape.
Yeah,
I think we should be okay.
That's why I'm watching these guys. I'm like, none of them claim to be geniuses. You can tell that they're not, and because the genius guy, like I said, they're weird usually, but then they don't start businesses. They're so smart, right? Oh, I have to do that.
Right, they create something that makes money instead of starting a business.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. But yeah, I mean, bottom line, you're putting it in to make this happen and taking the leap. I'm trying to encourage people to start their own small business. Then you're not dependent on any other major entity.
Yes.
Case in point, a little brewery I used to work for 10 years. I ran the email systems. I started there answering phones, built up in a year and a half. I was building the corporate environment for them with the clustered servers, Microsoft Exchange. And at one point, a total of 10 years later, they're like, we don't need you anymore. I'm like, what? Buy out, all that stuff. So it just gives yourself a little more control of your own destiny, I think, when you own your own business and you've done
No, I have to agree with you on that, 100%.
And you've done that well.
Yeah, I think the more you put in, the more you get out. So, like, I mean, I still work tirelessly on this business. I work day in, day out. I might not be in the field every single day, but definitely working on anything I kind of put my foot towards is definitely business-oriented. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And so my even Slider is arguing with me. He's going, yeah, shaking his head saying, absolutely, that's what's going on over there.
Right.
But I appreciate you, Slider, for contributing to our conversation here. I always like that. What is it, something that fuels your passion about this, though? What is it that makes you wake up every day? I mean, you get to work for yourself. That's cool, but what else?
Yeah, definitely that's the main part, is just being able to create my own destiny, I guess is what you could say. But the transformation, honestly, the transformation process. We had an older couple just recently, right here before Thanksgiving, that we completed a project for, man. And I'm telling you, they're so ecstatic to get their house repainted. They've been living there for 30 years, beautiful home, beautiful, 3,000 square foot ranch, and they didn't even do nothing crazy. They just repainted the colors that are already there, and they're like, oh my gosh, Tyler, it's so much brighter. Like, we repaired all of the settlement cracks and all the taping issues, and like they were just ecstatic. They couldn't believe how much better their home looked, and even some of the areas where they're like, oh, we don't necessarily need to fix. We went ahead and just fixed them while we were there, and she's like, I can't believe it. You were right. Like, we should have had these fixed had not questioned you on fixing these. She's like, I didn't realize how noticeable they were. And now, like, everything looks fresh and new. And yeah, that's my favorite part, is going into a home and going into it, seeing them before, and then coming back with the client and letting them walk through it with the after. And they're like, wow, I can't believe, like, you didn't just sell me a service that,
That's where we put the hat on. There we go. When you're doing the community stuff, that's what we like to focus on there. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good,
When
man.
you looked at me putting a hat on, I'm like, no, keep going, man. Keep going.
Yeah, no, but yeah, that's definitely the favorite part. I mean, they were so thankful. They were saying all the right things about my guys, about our team, and yeah, I mean that means a lot as a business owner, knowing that your guys are doing the right thing. They're getting the job done. They're creating a space that's more comfortable and more, more elegant for them feeling, and yeah, just seeing that reaction.
Well, how many people, like, literally, this is the most valuable asset they will ever own, like 97% of the population or thereabouts. And so you want to make sure this thing, because, I mean, I calculate, I've done this on my own for personal information. I'll share a little bit. I'm not going to give you the numbers, but the most valuable asset I own is, and at my age, these things kind of tend to get paid off, right? My house, based on what I was fortunate, unlucky, naive, but now it's almost paid off. I'm like,
Right.
if anything happens, I got a place to live, and I own it.
Absolutely.
And if I have to sell it, I need money and go downsize, then I can go off and buy a smaller house and have a whole lot of cash left over.
Or even like refinancing it if you have enough of it in equity, you can pull out an equity if you really need it. All types of things.
Listen to this guy. Who taught you all this stuff? People don't learn this stuff till they're in their
I guess TikTok nowadays. I don't know.
TikTok's the place.
Yeah.
We all learn. We double our knowledge. My dad would say, you double your knowledge on TikTok. He didn't know much about TikTok. But
Double your knowledge on the newspaper. Back
yeah,
then.
well, double your knowledge just by listening to people that are so. He's being a little sarcastic,
Yeah.
but because if you listen to somebody talks too long at whatever event, whatever, maybe I've been guilty of that, but I'm trying to help
Right.
and whatever. But somebody really knows their stuff, man. You can you come in knowing nothing about that particular industry,
Yeah.
and then within a half hour, an hour, you're like, holy cow, this guy
really.
So that's why we're doing this show, everybody, because we don't just do. We have done some short clip interviews for those who just wanted to get on TV a little bit, give them something to start with and go. But it's hard to get to learn a business in 15 minutes or 3 minutes or 7 minutes. So most of our guests, we're doing a half hour. Some we do 2 half hours. If we got enough time tonight, we might squeeze that in. I'm supposed to be at a Christmas party an hour ago, and Tyler's got a lot of work to go on. But business first, take care of your guests first, right?
No, yeah, for sure.
And that's how important is that for you to say you need to always make sure the client is happy.
Oh yeah, that's our thing. Like whenever I say our slogan is, our pack's got your back, guaranteed. That's what we try to do. We make sure that the homeowner or the builder or just the individual is satisfied, guaranteed, no problem. Like make sure there's no issues, make sure that everything's taken care of what they want to have taken care of, and make sure they're happy with the transformation of the space.
That's what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to an expert who's already gained this knowledge at his young age of 29.
Yeah, I've put enough work in, I'll tell you that, to be 30 or 49. I'd work in them double shifts on my own. That's how I grew this thing. And, working for a shop, from 6:30 to 2:30 every day, and then going to working for my own from 3:30 to 8:30, 9:30, even 10:30 at night sometimes during the week to make sure my clients getting their job painted, especially if it's a new construction, they have a closing date, you have to get it done by a certain time. Or if someone, hey, I just bought this house, I need you to paint it in 3 days, you got to get that bad boy painted whether you like it or not by that 3 days. So
and they're going to pay you accordingly.
No, I've definitely put the time in.
Yeah, these guys, if they don't close the house, they don't get the deal. These house flipper guys will make $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in 12-hour transaction for them.
Yeah.
They didn't all the sweat equity, all the equity that was put in by guys like yourself, and make it happen. You do some of that stuff too. You can talk about that some other time. We'll get into your
for sure.
other adventures you got going on. That's pretty cool. All right. With that though, how important is it to make your customers happy? This guy has done a great job of that and has a bunch of reviews. Facebook has got a great place for you to put those. So I'm going to put those on the wall for everybody to take a look at that. But there's that wide angle you can see over there. And again, take a look here. There is his Facebook page, and here are the reviews on his Facebook and what people have had to say. But nothing but nice things to say. Tyler and his crew did an excellent job. They were professional, honest, and did great work. That's from Danielle Watson. And thank you so much. Your responding. Wolf Painting was professional, quick, and good at their work. The guys that came and painted Zach and Brian were polite, cleaned up after the mess, and were swept the floors. Definitely recommend. And you could go on and on with. You've got all kinds of stuff out there. In other places, there's Home Advisor and Google and everything else, but we picked out a couple here for you because that's a good sample of what you're putting together for everybody to do.
That's what we like to hear. We try to get as many good reviews as we possibly can.
Well, it's important. It's like I've done. We talked about my coaching with regard to how to make sure you get good reviews, and we did. I used my psychology. So we were talking about Airbnb.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
It's air. I always say air. 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 B&B, bed and breakfast. And my girlfriend was misfortune to lose her father, but also the good fortune that he had worked and got a house. She got half, and then with the mortgage refi from the other, did stuff and whatever. Mm-hmm. And now she's got a house that she owns and turned it into an Airbnb.
Did that Burr method, huh?
Yeah. I'll say what that is. I've heard that before. Tell me what that is.
I think it's buy, refinance, or buy, renovate, refinance, rent, I believe is what it is.
Right.
So it's BRRR, I think.
Yep.
And then the last one's repeat, actually. So it's buy, renovate, refinance, repeat. I actually think that's what it is. Rent, repeat.
Well, rinse and repeat. I know is one
rinse
of
and
them.
repeat. Yeah,
there we go.
Rinse
that's
and
what
repeat.
it is. That's
what
I thought it was a specific term.
We're close. No,
you got the idea.
We're working on that still.
But duplicate the process, rinse and repeat.
Absolutely.
And not to give too much away about her personal stuff, she didn't get tons of money, but she was able to move things around and had to sell some stuff and whatever. But ends up with an Airbnb. And so I had a guy on the show, and I'm like, Jason LeCavalier, love you, dude. You're an incredible guy. He says, I said, give us a little review. We can use the property and talk about it. It aired almost a year and a half ago, I think, more than that. He's like, well, you can rent it, sell it, rent to own, or Airbnb. And Airbnb, he said the number was like 5 times all the other numbers.
Oh yeah, even if you only have 60% occupancy, like it pays off in the long run. Like, I mean, think about it. If 60% of the days you have it rented out for, say, it's $200, $300 a night. I mean, that adds up pretty quick compared to someone paying $1,000 or $1,200 or $1,500 a week, a month. You know what I'm saying? You can make $1,500 a week all day.
Well, that's another reason why in our pregame prep I said we're going to do a whole Airbnb how-to, and we're going to talk about how you can be from ground zero, someone who's never done Airbnb, and up to 91 straight 5-star reviews. Not 91 out of 100, 91 out of 200, 91 straight 5-star reviews. A couple people gave us a 4 or something on subcategories, but the overall average was still a 5. Yeah. And that's because we say, hey, if there is a problem, we have earned 5-star reviews so far from, at that point, 20. First we got like 10 in a row. I'm like, this is great. We got 10 in a row. And then we got 20. And then we got 30. I'm going to jinx this now, but we got 40. And by the time I get going, I'm like, we've already got 40 5-star reviews.
Yeah, when you get to 100, you have to celebrate.
Let us know if there's a problem. We will address it, or else you can see we would not have already gained 41 5-star reviews or whatever.
Right.
Now we're at 91.
That's awesome.
Straight 5. So there's a psychology goes there, but you have to have a good product. You have to do things right. You have to place clean. All the things that are required. But at the same time, there's some people who are just kind of cuckoo.
Yeah.
We run into them, not naming anybody. We had a couple of guests who were a little weird, and she's like, "I gave you a 4 on entry. Was it comedy? What was it? Gain? It was one of the categories because she didn't know how to use a keypad. She thought we should have a key or something like for her, and I'm like, okay, we'll undo the regular old thing that everybody else is. 150 guests we've had. Because not everybody gave us a review. 130 guests, but 120, I guess. There's only like 15 people, 20 people that hadn't given us a review. And some people just don't do it because whatever.
Yeah, but, I can't say I'm not that guy.
But yeah, but some people, she gave us 5s on everything else. But I mean, you deal with that. And so you have to be prepared to help people. How important it is for you, again, your reputation is on the line here. You've already gained that reputation. How do you think you succeeded at that so early in your career, being a young guy like you are?
Earning your reputation so early, I would probably just say by doing the work, going out and doing it, taking on any job, no matter how big or how small or honestly how difficult it is. I mean, we had a client just last year, the year before, ask if I could wood grain some garage doors I've never done before. And I'm like, I learned about it in school. I'll give it a shot. I learned how to do it. And we did it, and they turned out awesome. They loved it. I probably could have made more money off it, but I'm that type of person that, if I'm going to do a trial run on someone, I'm not going to charge them full price at least, But, I mean, just going out there doing the task and, getting them done no matter what is kind of what I've learned to get my experience from.
Well, and that is, again, the way you should run a business. But a lot of people are never privy to those kinds of training, that kind of expertise. And
Absolutely.
where'd you work at and who trained you and all of those things. But that's why I say go get a job at a corporation because they will train you a lot of times. And then you can go off on your own after what you've learned there a little bit. But this guy outsmarted me. He started way younger than I did. But good job there. All right, as we finish up show 1, we're going to talk about between show 1 and show 2. If we're going to do a show 2 today, we might. We'll see how we all feel after this minute here. But what's the one thing, if you were going to say, this is the thing that really set me apart? One thing that gave me the lead to do and have the success you've already had, what would you say that one thing might be? Or even a couple things you think that really helped make it happen for you.
The one thing that set me to the point where I made that break.
Yeah, and you were like getting the results that you're getting.
Trying to think here. Can I take a second on that?
Take a second, yeah. I'll throw some ideas at you just because we don't
yeah.
want. We can't have dead air. They sell like dead air.
No,
But
I understand
I mean, but I would say probably somebody had the insight to see, and this is what happens with a lot of people. They start working for somebody else, and you said you'd worked for 2 big companies, one a little bit shorter than the other, but term and the other, but 2 big guys, and you got to see how it was done. And then did you see that? You're like,
I wasn't necessarily that.
I can do that, or
I kind of got to the point where my extra money or my side jobs were turning into an issue because it was affecting my day job. I was too wore out, man. Honestly,
Gotcha, yeah.
I got to that breaking point.
Why should I keep doing this?
Yeah, and I got being a younger guy. I journeyed out pretty young. I think at 22, I was a journeyman. Painter, running jobs, and telling old guys what to do, and sometimes they didn't like that. So I got tattled on all the time if I was a couple minutes late, But the old guys be out there smoking cigarettes, drinking their coffee until 6:45, 7 o'clock, and then I'd get there, 10 minutes before they'd go inside even, but they'd tattle on me for being late. But that's probably the main thing that made me go on my own, man. Was just I had to flip a coin. It's like, okay, I either have to go after my own thing, make my own dreams, chase my own dreams, and try to make more money to support my family by working less hours, but being able to capitalize on making the more money with the clients I've gained, or I need to just stop and, focus on working for the man, which there's nothing wrong with that. I want to be able to grow guys that want to work for me. That's one thing I try to do is make sure I have an environment where guys want to be at work. But, that's probably the main thing was just I had to juggle whether I wanted to do it on my own to make the extra money or just stop and just work for the man,
I am with you. I have dealt with all of those issues, and it's interesting. But yeah, I mean, we all have different perspectives on life and different ways we were raised and different interests we have. And it's like, where did that come from? Why are some people so driven and other people are just kind of, how life is easy and not so complicated? And we need all those people, right?
I agree. Yeah.
That's for sure, because it can't be, they always say, more chiefs than Indians, you end up with trouble, right?
Yeah, would be a lot of trouble if everyone was a chief. No, there would be.
Right, nothing would get done. But you've done it and taken off and done well. All right, we're going to finish up this segment here. I got about 40 seconds left. What's the one big mistake? And we might have you finish the question in the second half here because if we do a second half, because we got 15 seconds. But off the top of your head, what's the one big mistake people make when they're deciding to get painting done or not?
The one big mistake is not picking their color right away. Sitting there picking between too many colors. People always pick way too many colors, and then here we are stuck changing it at the end. They're like, man, I really don't like this color. I thought I would. It's not what I thought it would turn out to. And I'm like, hey, I told you, you guys get to pick your own colors. I don't want to be a judge. I'm no designer, so don't blame me, but we'll gladly make it however you want it to be. So if it's not how you envision, we'll fix it.
There you go. Very important and why you need to do so. All right, by the end of the first show here, we're going to do a second show. We might. We'll see. Stay tuned. Maybe now, maybe later. We'll do it. Giddy up.